Ja, willkommen zu unserem nächsten Instagram Live Talk. Heute sprechen wir mit Christoph Wiesner, mit dem Direktor der Paris Photo, dem künstlerischen Direktor von Paris Photo. Hallo Christoph.
Hi,
Hallo. Grüß dich. Ich zeige mich gleich, aber bevor ich mich zeige, wollte ich dir gerade noch mal die Galerie zeigen, wie sie gerade aussieht.
Natürlich.
Ah yeah, we wanted to speak in English, huh? Okay, let's do this.
So, up to you, yeah.
Yeah, so our empty gallery space.
I just see like cycler and cars, so nothing is dead in Cologne.
No, there it is absolutely. So here is the gallery. You have visited us once, right?
Was it the former gallery? So from very long time ago, from
Rudolf
Greve and Rudolf Zwirner before.
Yes,
It was, huh?
exactly.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. He built the gallery in 1972, so it's really a very important historical space here in Cologne. And Mr. Ludwig was coming here to buy a lot of artworks from the walls here.
And especially pop art.
Pop art, exactly. So
Yeah.
there was Andy Warhol and Roy Lichtenstein, but he had as well exhibition by Joseph Beuys and Gerhard Richter already very early. So it's really quite amazing.
Yeah, it's really great to be in an historical place.
Yeah.
And Cologne was a center of the art world and the beginning of the art market in the 60s, in the late 60s, what was for me something completely fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you think the history, just close, so short to my, so I came to Cologne through just friends who were. So I met some friends during my study in Paris at the École du Louvre, and he was artist, and he had his artist studio in Cologne in north from Cologne. And so this is how I came to Cologne, and I discovered this incredible history of the city. And even before the First World War, with the Wehrpunkt, it was really an incredible active place.
Yeah. Yeah, there were the Kölner Progressiven. That was an art circle that was founded in 1910. So that was already, August Sander, the famous photographer,
Yeah.
August Sander, he was in contact with this Kölner Progressiven, which was really amazing what they did at that time. So.
And the other incredible attractive point for me was also the Kunstverein, which is this art association, in fact, from Cologne.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it was more kind of a salon for reading books and exchanging about what's happened in the city.
Yeah.
But it was already at the beginning of the 90s. It were already 150 years old, and I was so impressed about the program in the 90s times. It was in that time as Udo Kittelmann was there.
Yeah.
And I remember I've seen like some unbelievable exhibition.
Yeah, and then there was Wolf Herzogenrath, and Wolf Herzogenrath,
Exactly.
he wrote, or he examined, he was one of the first who examined film and video.
Yeah, exactly. I remember this exhibition, yeah.
And Wolf Herzogenrath as well, he worked a lot together with or about Ulrike Rosenbach, so that was really very important for her career as well.
And the first time as we met, Priska, it was around Ulrike Rosenbach. And Ulrike Rosenbach was for me, I didn't know really her work before we met together. I would say less photographs. I knew the videos because in Baden and in Cologne you had like more exhibition, and they especially this video collection in the Kunstmuseum in Baden which was
yeah,
very,
yeah,
which has a very great display about this Ulrike Rosenbach and also the entire later video art scene, Cologne video art scene, like Marcel Odenbach or this kind of person,
absolutely. Yeah.
or Klaus von Bruch. All this guy, I was able, so I had the chance. I was a very young guy. I was like 20, maybe 23, 24, and I had the chance to meet them, and it was something unbelievable.
Yeah,
This is
that was.
it was my first contact to Cologne, in fact.
Ah, really, really fantastic. Klaus von Bruch and Ulrike Rosenbach, they were together in Los Angeles. They were for 1 year living there and teaching at Cal Arts. So with
Yeah, sure.
Baldessari together, or under Baldessari. And when I did the exhibition here of Johanna Reich, Ulrike Rosenbach came and she visited the exhibition, and I was so, wow, this woman is coming here. I was so impressed, I was so happy to meet her, and of course I'm very proud now to work with her. This is the art kids, when you
Exactly.
when you're born into the city, all these big names, and I remember when I was going to this gallery here in the 80s, I was like so impressed that, and even and I was really often very afraid of asking any questions because I was so impressed about what was going on here.
It was the same for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it was also for me a very strong contact to the contemporary art scene. It was my first one and everything was, so you had the feeling that everything was accessible. And you had also a lot of exchange, and in the 90s you had also all this young gallery art scene. So Esther Schipper was part of one of the for me key person. This is how I discovered a gallery. Before working for her, I was just visiting the galleries. And they were also another one. So there's, for me, in my remembering, 3 galleries. Esther Schipper was one of 4. Esther Schipper, Daniel Buchholz for sure. So from the young one, Tanja Grunert in that time had a very great program. This is how I saw the first prints for me from Philippe Lorca di Corsia. Just unbelievable exhibition, or Valley Export, this kind of things. So it was really, but it was also Pierre Huyghe. So Pierre Huyghe with a video, with a doubling studio, you remember? So
did you see the recent exhibition here at the Museum Ludwig by Pierre Huyghe?
No, but I saw the French version in Pompidou. Yeah.
That was great. It was really fantastic.
Yeah, and this scene was very, very exciting. So Daniel Buchholz had also some very interesting position, like Tillmans. So if you imagine all these really young galleries, they were all 25. And they had this incredible feeling to display what is now some icons for us. But at the same time, also the historical part of the Cologne art scene was also on a very interesting level, like Rolf Ricke. These galleries we used to work originally for CBS, the broadcast company. And this is how we discover, in fact, all these amazing American artists. So you had a very, very strong, in fact, art scene between already established artists, and a lot of American for sure, but also German, and this very young emerging artist. And this was a very unbelievable scene for me. So this is how I came in contact to Cologne.
And I remember it was very, very well from that time. So I started to work at Rudolf Kicken Gallery in '87. And in the backyard of this building, there was Paul Mans.
Yes, I remember very well, Paul.
And downstairs was Buchholz Gallery. So and then there was always these gallery openings, you
Yes,
know, in
Galerie Rundgang.
springtime, the gallery Rundgang, you know, and then there were,
Premier Tag. Yeah.
let's say, 2,000 people going around. You know,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
really something. That was really
yeah, yeah.
like Oktoberfest with beer.
Exactly. Monica Sprüt Gallery, this is where I saw the first Cindy Sherman
Yeah, yeah,
and Jenny Holzer. And so if you imagine all these things, it's just like Mark Setzler, Gisela Capitan.
absolutely.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Even Carson Brave, close to the train station.
Yeah, yeah. Katja is here with us.
Hi, Katja.
You know, Katja was working 15 years for Carsten Greve, and now since 4 years she is working with me here.
With you together.
Yeah, yeah.
So I also experienced the strong relationship between Cologne and Paris, all the more since the Thales has only 3 hours 15 minutes connection between the two cities. So there has always been a strong connection.
Where you from what time are you talking?
General, Priska introduced me as having been for 15 years working for Carsten Greve. So
yeah,
for many
sure,
years,
you were going
know
back
the
and
strong
forth.
relationship between the two cities.
Yeah,
Cologne
yeah,
and
yeah. And how do you see Cologne now with because Cologne had in fact it becomes less important with the development of Berlin and the I would say like more established art scene in Berlin, but at the same time, for me the feeling was always in Cologne you were in the center of, I would say, North Europa. You were very close to Belgium, to Holland, to France, to Paris is 4 hours by car, or 4.5 hours by car, and 3 hours by train.
I think this is a very important point because I think that was Benedict Taschen said that once, that Cologne is the best city for to go away. You know, you are always, and this is something what I wanted to show you. I prepared something for you, Christoph.
Oh.
Have a look here. Do you see? This is all my photographs that I did in the last couple of months or years. And you see how many I did in Paris? 1,517, you know? So it's always, you know, this is really this where as a gallery in Cologne, you're always around. You are everywhere in the world.
Very
mainly in Paris. A lot of the time you are in Paris.
It was indeed my feeling as I was in Cologne, so I had the feeling that I was close from everywhere.
Yeah.
I came on another point of view as I moved to Berlin because I was 600 kilometers more far away.
Yeah.
But how did you, so you used to work before for Zwirner, and after you decide to open your own galleries?
Yeah, so I worked for Rudolf Kicken.
For Rudolf Kicken, pardon, sorry.
Yeah, Rudolf Kicken, and I worked there until from 87 to 96, and then I started to do art consulting with photography mainly. I had the idea to do something on my own. And then I was thinking to consult people who would like to collect photography. Because, you know, in Germany, especially after the World War and after the Nazi, photography was not such an important thing. So it restarted a little bit again with the Becher School. So mainly in the 90s. And but I was very, very interested in photography at that time because of the work with Rudolf Kicken, who was specialized in photography. Sure. And then I wanted to do consulting. And then at the end, it turned out I was more representing estates, like Elie Sitzky estate and a lot of other things. And then I did this for 4 years, and then I had the opportunity to rent a very, very nice space here in Cologne. I was always very fortunate with spaces, and then I opened the gallery there. That was in 2000.
And which artist did you start with?
Yeah, that was mainly photography. So it was Lissitzky. Then I had one Japanese photographer from the 30s and 30s. That was Osamu Shihara, and then Albert Renger-Patsch. So all the photographers from the 20s and 30s, like Bauhaus photography and Elfriede Stegemeyer and August Sander. So really mainly focused on the photography of the 20s and 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And after you move on to more contemporary artists.
Exactly. So I in between, I worked then together with Ferdinand Brüggemann, who just came back from Japan, and through him I discovered this Japanese photography, and then we did photography from Japan from the 60s and 70s, like Shomei Tomatsu, but then as well contemporary, so like Rinko Kawauchi and Daido Moriyama, and then it turned out for me that everything has to do with changes in society, that this is my main subject, and
yeah,
and then I went further. I started to work with paintings and video and installation as well.
and for example, Peter Hugo, how did you decide to? So
Yeah, Peter Hugo, you know, it was, I think 2008 was the focus of Paris Photo was Japan. And we had a very, very great fair, and that was still in the Carrousel du Louvre.
yes.
And then and we had a great fair, but the last day I thought I have to see a little bit of this fair, because often when you're an exhibitor, you
Sure.
don't see anything else.
I remember that very well. Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
in your own world and you never look what is behind. And
Yeah.
yeah, in 2008, the last day I was going around, and then I discovered Peter Hugo, and I was so fascinated by this piece from Hyena and at Stevenson Gallery, and I bought it. I bought one work by Peter Hugo.
And you still have it.
I still have it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in my apartment. We just moved the apartment, and it's a very nice place again. Yeah.
Because also what is very important, it was already this point was for me already important, as I used to work for galleries, because I did so. I spent 15 years with Esther Schipper, who moved on from Cologne to Berlin by the mid 90s, so 96, 97. And this is the time I started to work with her, and the time of so two points was for me very important in working for galleries. The first one was a relation to artists, which was for me something like really crucial. And also the time to exchange. And on the other hand, also the gallery, the fair time was a time where you were able to meet everyone.
Exactly.
And also to exchange your experiences, to exchange your artists, to talk, to have it was a kind of constantly brainstorming. And if this is also one of the point what at some point decide me to move on to go to a fair, because a fair is a kind of general, for sure it's a marketplace, and it's a place where you sell artwork, and it's allow also artists to live with it as galleries, but at the same time it's also a place for exchanging idea, meeting people, meeting gallery, meeting curator, meeting just lover of photography. And so after spending a lot of hours like you on booths, it was something very interesting. I don't regret the time of galleries. My gallery time, it was something unbelievable, and this is how I met. So thanks to Esther Pierre-Wicht, Dominique Gonzalez-Förster, Philippe Renaud, and also the scene afterwards and Thomas Demand, which I still have today a contact. When I text him, he answers directly. And
do you have a work by Thomas Demand?
No. I had a small edition, but through my divorce, it disappeared in another slot, if I could say like that. But it doesn't matter. And yes, this time for galleries on fairs, on one point it's very demanding because you have to be intensively concentrate, but on the other hand, it open you a lot of doors.
Absolutely.
I don't know, what is your feeling to both of you when you are coming to Paris Photo?
Yeah, I did my first Paris Photo in 1999. So it was really long time ago. And for me, this Paris Photo is like a little bit like the center of the art world or the photography world. I think Paris Photo is something like Basel. You know, it's really like a jewel, and all the people are meeting there, and the collectors are coming from everywhere, and the curators, and there are great artists. And I think it's really fantastic. So you started in 2015, and I didn't do 2015 edition in 2016 and 2017 because we moved here to this space, and I had to concentrate on the space instead of going to Paris to do the fair there. But I was there as a visitor, and I love it as much to be there as a visitor as an exhibitor.
And Paris Photo is one of the fairs that has a super intense curated program and a lot of extra exhibitions and the special sectors. So there's even so much more to learn than just visiting the many galleries and meeting people. So this is really very special about Paris Photo, I think.
Yeah, so you know, the point is, so we are photography is a part of the entire art production, and it's also to have maybe a little bit smaller community and to have a kind of overview also for the with all of us, which is much more difficult for contemporary art now, where you have like everywhere around the world a fair for contemporary art. This is what makes it like also so special. The other point is that we as I joined Paris Photo, Florence Bourgeois was already a few months there. And she joined the fair in the time of Julian Friedman, and we had, so it was funny, we had some commune, so not background directly, but we saw directly, we knew directly that we were meeting somewhere before the fair, in some place, and especially in Berlin during this special gallery weekend time. Yeah. And I just realized that directly, and so we had, so we were directly on the same point, how to develop the fair, what we should do, so the first year was for sure something, so was a kind of, so we launched this Prisma section for this big scale work, for this serial work. So, and also for maybe installation, we never had so much installation, but series, we had really some fantastic series from artists. And when you are going deeply in the lot of body of works of photograph, you understand how series are really capital. Yeah. So if you don't, so if you have one Becher, it's nice, it's a nice piece. But if you have like 2 or 3 or 10 or 20, it works completely differently. And I love like just repeating always the same sentence of Paul Graham. He say, so as soon you have 2 images, it's the beginning of a story. Yeah. When you have one, it's a photography, and it's a kind of, how do you say, it's a documentation on what something happened. It's a fragment. As soon you have 2, you start to tell something. And this is, it's something that's kind of key point for me. It was also something very important, which took me much more to photography. I had like, so as teenager, I was completely fascinating about photography. I even had the idea at some point to become a photographer. One of my uncle was a photojournalist for a newspaper in the center of France. And I spent sometimes part of my holiday there just to see what he was doing. And I used to go even to the Rencontre d'Art as I was a very, very young guy before studying, just to look at photography. So in between, I study art history and so discover something differently. And now that I'm back, I discover some incredible possibility, so an incredible production even which are completely unknown what artists were doing with photography, even if they are not photographer. And this is what also drove me every day, or bring me every day to this field back.
Yeah, I think this is a very important point, that photography is not photography. It's really always the artist who is behind. So if it's using the medium photography, and I think this is especially very interesting to see what different perspective artists have on which view on the world they have, and and how they express it, for example, with photography.
Yeah, exactly. And it could be part of a process. It could be also a final product. If it's so when you see how many way you have now, so how the documentary field is now developed with so much different approach, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. And the same when you rediscover all these artists who were using photography to document performing in their own studio. Most of them, so a lot of them, they were just exhibited, but in a very, very, very small community. And sometimes they were using it as just a background to repaint them. When you put all that together, I'm just working right now. So we are working with France. We are preparing our selection committee for Paris Photo in November. So we receive all the projects. So we are. So with our crew, with our team, with Nora, Alex, and Jadwiga, we are preparing everything together for our online selection committee. We will not be able to meet physically, but we will do it virtually. Yeah, and it's so you always have so much offers. It's just incredible. So, and with some very, very fine. I think also one of the points of the fair so the quality of the fair becomes through also an ability or a capacity to edit it more, to make more, so to sort out what is so which kind of art you want to display, how you want to display, and for sure the fairs are looking much more like museums presentation in the last time.
Which is very nice.
Yeah, and it makes it like more understandable also. Yeah, it brings a new link, in fact, to reread the history of images. Yeah. And this is what makes it also so exciting. If you see from Eastern Europe art scene, all these conceptual artists, or even like artists who were using mail art in the time as they were not able to express themselves because they were not part of the official I would say of the political official expression. So it's just like it's so rich.
Yeah, and at the same time, you have at the moment you are like it's like in the 20s and 30s that the artists are doing everything. They are doing photography, they're performing, they are making video out of it, they're making short films and long films, and everything is at once. And you have a very strong video sector as well. You built up at Paris Photo, right?
Yeah, with the Cinematheque together. So with the Cinematheque and the KNAP, which own the KNAP is a national collection, and they own 700 films, what is really a lot. And the Cinematheque help us also a lot with Mathieu Orléans and Pascal Cassagno to build a really good selection. So we have one part of selection, as you know, from the exhibitors. On the other hand, a selection from films from this collection. But the idea was also to show, as you say, that there is a connection between moving image and still image. Even if we all know that it's more complicated to collect a moving image, it's really, there's a real link. A lot of artists are using both of them.
Like Johanna Reich, like one of our artists that we have shown, and Ulrike Rosenbach, she did all these performances and then making still photography out of it, and then
video sculpture. You can combine the moving image and the three-dimensional work. Or nowadays we showed on the last edition of Paris Photo augmented reality. So you have a still image and a moving image if you want it to appear.
I remember for Ulrike Rosenbach, this video where she is dressed like the Venus, like a Venus coming out of a Marshall.
Yeah.
So with a Botticelli background, and she's self by herself, like rotating on a platform in the middle of the picture. It's already video sculpture.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's really great. Katja is just looking for something now. She's trying to find it to show it to the public. Yeah, but how is the situation now? How is the situation in Paris?
So we are all waiting. So this afternoon we will have a. Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly this one. Yeah. We are waiting for our for the new communication of the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And it should be normally today. He will announce the new step to take slowly down the lockout.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it will be a new step. So
yeah. And you personally have you been in home office all the time now since 30 days or how long?
Since 40 days now.
40 days now, okay.
Yeah.
And just going out for grocery and for...
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's so what is good is like you probably get, we are all completely so focused on news every day. So before going to sleep, by waking up, so we go. In fact, you go through all the news in Europa and in America to see what's happened.
Yeah.
So we need to have some patience, to be patient, and so
Absolutely.
Also for Paris Photo, we know that we will need to have a little bit more time for everything. We are rethinking all a possibility just to make it happen, secure and safe for everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that if we are straight enough to take care, it will work out.
Yeah.
So I'm positive, so I'm mostly positive. So as Florence, so we had our team meeting this morning, and Florence said I'm a very optimist person, and I'm too, I think. And so it's help.
Yeah. So I'm not so optimistic, but it's important to be optimistic, of course. Huh?
Yeah, but so I realize it's also from country to country a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Maybe we here in Germany we could open the gallery now, but we are not opening at the moment. So it's a little bit like I'm a little bit too afraid. The point is that I live with my father, so my father is living in our household. So it's a little bit.
I understand. Yeah.
And my daughter is in New York, so it's, I hear all the messages from New York at the moment, so it's a little bit from.
But did you during the time when you were at home as well? Did you have any contact with collectors? Did collectors or even friends who call you and ask you if they could do something for the gallery? And how was it going in Germany?
Yeah, so we were allowed to go to work, so that means that we, for example, we continue to work. We were every day in the gallery because, it's 400 square meters here, and you have really enough possibilities to pay attention, so. And we were telephoning a lot, but a lot with as well with the artists, and we did all these online activities, as you know, and I think that from this side that was really great because we had a lot of contact with all over the world.
Was the online activity for you something new and important?
Yeah, absolutely. So not so new because maybe as you know, we had already a very strong online activity. So we have this website and a web shop and the Artland, all these things. But
Future Talks on YouTube.
On Future Talks on YouTube, we did already exactly. But now we started this Instagram live talks, and that is quite important. There are some new contacts that are coming through this, and we like it. We have the impression that the world is connected. So it's I can speak with you now, for example.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Marie Photo was always very active in online activities as well, no? No?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we had we as you know we had to postpone Paris Photo New York, and so instead of doing the fair, we did an online catalog.
Yeah.
Which which allow in fact all exhibitors from Paris Photo New York just to put a list of works online, with also a link to the gallery. We also have regularly some appearance of the program. We still have store on our webpage. All the conversation are online, the artist talks. Which is a lot of material, and we have a very, very great team. So I should thank Mike Kruse, which is my colleague, who is doing all of that with some very, very nice assistant, Leah, Lila, and more. And so she's just unbelievable. She's keeping everything so on the right point, and so it's a law also to stay really present, and this is something very important.
Exactly.
To stay close to we wouldn't exist without you. You wouldn't exist without the artists, and so with the entire community, which are curator, writer, critics, and I think it feels very, very interesting. And I'm pretty sure it will create some new level of exchanging.
Absolutely, I think what I like very much is especially with this Instagram live talks as well from the others, because I'm listening myself to a lot of these Instagram live talks. It's very authentic, it's very direct, and you really learn a lot about the people and about the artist, and I discovered a lot and I learned a lot, and so it's a bit something that I think, of course, we will continue. Even if
it was my first live. It was my first Instagram live talk.
Oh, really? And you like it? How do you feel?
Yeah, I like it. Thanks to you. Thanks
great,
to you.
Great.
Yeah. No, it's So what will be your next show now when you will really reopen? Will you have a show with photography or with video, or?
No, the next show will be by Fabian Hakenhöhner, which is a painter, a young painter here he studied in Düsseldorf.
Yes.
And we will do a solo show with him. And I don't know yet, maybe we open in mid-May something, end of May. And then this is until end of July.
But we have to invent something for the opening ceremony. It will not be a vernissage on one evening for some hours and people gathering together and having a glass of something and eating together. But we are thinking of opening days and maybe inviting people in small groups to come during 2 entire days in time slots, something like this. So we have to invent.
Sure.
Creative as well.
Yeah. We will all need.
And then afterwards, at the beginning of July, we will open then finally our 20 years of gallery exhibition. So this will
20 years.
20 years. Yeah. We have now 5 years here in this space, and then in general it's 20 years, and this will be for the summer. And then we will see. Nobody knows what is going on at the moment. So
sure. No, but we need to be all positive.
Help me to be so positive.
And I hope to see you in Paris next time.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that was really great. Thank you so much.
No, but thank you for your invitation. And so it was always something. It's always something special when you talk about your past. And for me, Cologne was was an important step in my discovery of the art world, of the contemporary art world. And so I have a kind of. So my origin is somewhere in Cologne.
You know
Somewhere.
what for me, you represent something which is really fantastic. It's, you know, you are between France and Germany, you know, so both sides. You are photography and art, you know, you are so open-minded, and you did so many great things at Paris Photo. So I really great.
So,
Glad
you know,
that
it's
you are the director of Paris Photo.
Paris Photo is a teamwork, and so
Absolutely.
without the team, nothing would exist. It's something very strong, and so Florence, the director of the fair, because I'm the artistic director, she is also really carrying all together, and says a very strong. So we have the feeling to be part of a community, which is very intense, I would say.
Is this a new model in Paris that Florence and you are both the directors since you started, or because before there was always one, if I remember correctly?
Yes, but the FIAC in the former time, for a long time ago, had also at sometimes before Jennifer moved alone on, she had like for a few years also Martin Letneau, who afterwards moved to the Pinot collection. So yeah, it was existing, and I don't know if you remember, but Basel had also at some point like two directors after as Sam Keller left for the foundation, Mark Spiegler and another. I just do not remember the name of Annette something. So, but I love also working in. Working with
team.
someone. Yeah. It's
we too. We like very much.
You know, it's. I think it's different. It's a question of character. But I love exchanging, and to work in a dynamic is it's fantastic. This is also why I love our crew and our team. Sorry, I don't like the word crew. What we are missing right now, it's a little bit a kind of physical. Closeness. It's a very strange feeling. So we are missing something.
And the ability to move and to travel is missing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I had
when we prepared the talk. Sorry, when we prepared the talk or thought about what we could talk about today. We thought about how important something like Paris Photo has been for the art world in the past. So it's maybe not necessary to look always into an uncertain future and think about what we can do in the future, but also to take some energy from what has been done. And it has never been really easy to do art, right? We always had to put a lot of energy to keep it going. And
sure.
Maybe this can be a lesson to go on with it now.
Yeah.
No,
Paris Photo came as it started in 1997. It was a very strong decision to open a place for photo market. And it was, at the origin was Rick Gadella, which was a publisher. So we decided, in fact, to start it with help from a lot of persons around, so Agnès and Monterosso. They were all together also to build this community. Christian Cojol, all these people in France were so active for photography at that time. It was really one of the main decision to keep it, to start it.
I never forget. So I started in 1999 to do it first time, and then it was in the Carrousel du Louvre. It was really a small fair, and then I think, I don't know when, maybe it was 2004 or 2006 or something. Then there was the people until Rue de Rivoli. There was standing in line, the people. So that was really like amazing. You couldn't enter it. Today you have the same when you're in the Grand Palais or in front of the Grand Palais. You have as well all the people standing in line. But at that time for photography, it was amazing.
Yeah, we had last year around 72,000 visitors on 5 days.
Wow. Yeah. So So let's cross fingers that
Yeah.
this pandemic will be over very soon, that they find something, that in November we can celebrate Paris
I hope.
Tour as usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christoph. It was really nice.
Was
And
a
please
pleasure
send
for
our
you.
best wishes to Florence and thank you very much.
Werde ich.
Both of you.
Auf alle Fälle. Ich werde das nicht vergessen.
Thank you.
Tschüss.
Bye bye. Tschüss.